What's going on, y'all? Sean of Math Swap Tutoring here with my thoughts on math and artificial intelligence, specifically using AI to do math. Okay. So I'm gonna do my best to kind of provide like a nuanced kind of like well, not nuanced, but what I mean is kind of like a more objective kind of talk about this. I do have my own kind of opinions, of course, but I'll share that stuff a little bit more at the end. Now, before we go further, I want to ask you to make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe as well. And I want to hear from you too. I want to know what your opinion is, your thoughts are about artificial intelligence and math. Now, to start this off, maybe a month or two ago, I posted one of my SAT type math problems, for people to practice with. And I got a comment on the video, and I can't remember what the problem was because I posted a lot of them. And the person who commented said that they took a picture of the problem. They took a screenshot of the YouTube thumbnail and fed it into AI. I don't know what tool they use because there's several that you can use, and they got the solution. And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. It generates a lot of thoughts, and I'm gonna try to come back to my thought about that in the end. However, it just kind of really made me think more so about the fact that AI is a very real thing. It has really permeated for the past couple of years, since it's kind of been more mainstream. It's really permeated society and really like societies throughout the world in regard to how um organizations and individuals use it for everyday things. I mean, from just tech that we use like cars and our phones and all that kind of stuff to education, of course, as we're talking about here, and just various other applications, robots and all that stuff. But let's kind of talk about this, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts from one who has a tech background as an electronics engineer, as well as one who, you know, I'm a math tutor and I own a math tutoring organization, and so having tools to help you with math does probably even bring up the question, what is the usefulness of math tutoring with humans when you have AI tools? So obviously, it's two ways to look at this. And so I have a list of pros and cons for using AI to do math. So make sure you listen. And I'm going to try to provide like a very objective kind of, discussion or talk about this, because obviously being a tutor, having an organization where we tutor people in math, obviously, it would seem that I would be more biased toward having people tutor with real humans. But let's talk about this. So, what would be the benefits of using AI to help with math? So, first of all, obviously, AI is going to be a quick tool. Like, literally, it's as easy as getting on the internet on your phone or on your PC and, you know, typing out your problem or screenshotting, like literally getting a screenshot of your problem, like the individual did from the Mascot Tutoring YouTube channel, feeding it into AI, and then letting AI give you a response. That's very fast. That's very convenient, obviously. Okay. So it's a lot, it can be very quick. Another thing is thinking about AI not for math, not just for a student, but also for engineers, scientists, and whatnot doing research and development, you know, AI could possibly be very useful for solving bigger problems. So, and this, in a sense, has already kind of been done thinking outside of AI. So, I just kind of give you kind of like a glimmer into my engineering career. So, when I was doing more so like engineering as a career, we didn't do a lot of math computations. Math computations were rare. And if they were done, it would be something on probably like a very individual basis, not really organizationally trying to solve math problems to figure out engineering problems. like maybe I kind of went and kind of jotted some math stuff down to try to help me think about voltages at certain points on circuit cards and stuff like that. But aside from that, you didn't really do math anymore. All the math we did in college, we didn't really use because it's already built into the software. Now, I'm not talking about like AI software. I'm talking about the software we're using that, in a lot of cases is very, very old. So this stuff has been in software. So unless you're really in a research and development kind of place, you're not really going to use a lot of that math very much. However, if you are doing research and development and stuff like that, then there's a good chance that you are um, needing to do math computations, to figure out new solutions to old problems or new problems. Okay. And so artificial intelligence could be a very useful tool to kind of help you as you're trying to figure out new things to kind of solve math problems, um, to help you along the way with figuring out some sort of new solutions. Case in point, if you've seen the movie Hidden Figures, you know that that Katherine Johnson, of course, in the movie played by Taraji Henson, she's solving problems to try to figure out some sort of space trajectory. Um, I can't remember if it was to get out of like into Earth's orbit or out of the atmosphere. I can't remember what it is. But anyhow, she's doing all of this math and stuff, and so um AI could possibly help with that, and to not have to do all that stuff by hand, so to speak. Now, another pro for AI with math is that AI gives pretty decent explanations. So I actually went into one of the tools called Wolfram Alpha. Now I didn't go in depth at all. Um, but I went into one of the tools and got one of my problems that I posted on the MathSwap Tutoring YouTube page. And I put it in there and it came up with a lot of different things. And it had some things that I pulled up um pretty quickly, and it took it probably about 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds to kind of pull up some stuff on my problem. Now, I will have some other negative stuff to kind of like give in to kind of provide on my AI math experience as well. But what I'm saying is it had a decent level of notes as far as, you know, um, like data on that particular math problem and whatnot. So it's good. I think it would be good for like taking notes, like to kind of systematically solve certain type of math problems. So yeah, and then finally, obviously AI is very accessible. Like a lot of these tools you can use for free, and I don't know exactly how much some of these different kind of things cost or whatever, but I just get the impression that AI is very, very, very accessible these days. Now I'm not one who uses this stuff, you know, regularly and who buys things and stuff like that. So as far as that kind of level of detail, I'm not necessarily the one to kind of like give a lot of commentary. However, AI is very accessible. Now, let's go to the con side of things. First of all, one of the reasons that you have to be careful with using AI for math is it really depends on your ability to prompt in a way that you get what you need from it. Okay. And so what I mean is, if you've ever used AI before, even to kind of generate text or to generate pictures and whatnot, you really have to be able to ask artificial intelligence stuff strategically so that you get what you are looking for. Okay. So just because you ask artificial intelligence to solve a math problem for you doesn't mean that you're going to get, whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay. So like, and this actually goes into another one of my cons that I put here. It can promote a lazy, quote, lazy way of thinking if approached a certain way. So understand what I mean. And let's just kind of like put it out there. A lot of people, a lot of students are using artificial intelligence to do their homework for them, to try to make things easier. So you put a prompt in there and you get answers and just write them down. Okay. So, but the thing is, again, if you don't know how to ask the right stuff for AI, then and you're just going in there to get quick answers, what happens is you could get data out of AI that is not the proper solution to whatever it is that you were looking for. Okay. And so then you'll think you got the right answer, and then you're absolutely wrong. Like whatever it is you got out of it is not really what you need. It's incorrect for the solution that you actually need. Okay. So going back to the problem that I put into AI, it was a problem that I posted where I was asking if you have a shaded area of a circle, what fraction of that area is represented by the shaded region if the angle of the shaded region is 240 degrees. And I got a whole lot of different data in there. A lot when I put it into Wolfram Alpha, a lot of data. And so that can be problematic because if you don't know anything about how to solve that problem, then you're going to be like, I don't know what is actually useful based on what AI gave me. So again, it depends on your ability to prompt clearly and effectively in a way that AI can kind of like understand, you know, and it also doesn't work well if you're just going to try to get quick answers. Okay, you have to have some level of baseline. What I mean, that's what I mean. Like you need to have some level of baseline understanding of whatever it is you're asking about. The third con is more of a question. Can artificial and obviously artificial intelligence is going to get better with time, but can artificial intelligence truly substitute the nuances of human interaction? So think about it like this. So first of all, say for example, you know how to prompt AI very well and whatnot, and you put stuff into artificial intelligence and it gives you an answer. And but you still need to know how to solve to get to the answer. Now, AI it'll even give you detailed notes on how to get from the problem to the solution. But what if you still don't really understand that? What if you still don't understand that? Now, you could possibly ask artificial intelligence to give you like some sort of extra details or another way of looking at the solution. But I get the impression, and again, this could get better with time, but I get the impression that just think about it this way: a human can actually sit with you and explain in real time a problem, and if you don't get it, they can kind of sit with you on specific details and again in real time find different ways of explaining concepts to you. So artificial intelligence, you may be able to kind of like prompt again, but I don't really know how that works to get that level of detail from artificial intelligence in a way that can be as understandable as kind of like dialoguing with someone about a math problem, if that makes sense. Okay. So another thing is artificial intelligence can't really pick up on your human emotion. And so what I mean is, say for example, you have an issue with a problem and somebody who's tutoring you can pick up whether or not you understand something or not. Usually they can pick it up. Now, I mean, in the future, you may have a robot that might have some level of uh, understanding, you know, to be able to notice whenever a human subject is not really understanding something. But again, there's a level of human to human interaction that I don't think can be really replicated well. Okay. And of course that is a level of subjective opinion there. And then finally, just in general, when it comes to human interaction, it's something about just talking to a machine. Something about talking to a machine that's just not it's just not the same. It's just not the same. It's kind of like the intangible aspect of it, maybe the spiritual aspect of it, I don't know. But communicating with a human versus communicating to a cold a cold machine that's essentially like ones and zeros and whatnot, you might get the information that you need, but then at the same time, it's just there's an intangible aspect of that that is not quite the same. Again, I understand that's probably more subjective. That's kind of like my opinion. And I'm also not even really able to explain exactly what I mean, but I almost kind of feel like, again, based on what I'm communicating, you may feel me if you feel me, for lack of better words. And then the fourth thing, as I get ready to wrap this video up, is what I want to refer to as calculus level thinking. Now, this is something that my pastor actually has communicated a couple of times, and I just like the way that he's talked about it. um, he's talked about calculus level thinking. So, again, as you know, I have an engineering background. That means that when I went to school, pretty much all I did was math. Almost all that I did was math. I took 4 calculus classes, and then all of my engineering classes and my science classes were basically math classes as well, with calculus in them, except for chemistry. But still, you use math in there. But my point is, when I went through engineering school, undergrad, graduate, all that kind of stuff, being exposed to all of that math and that level of thinking, you have to kind of think in 3 dimensions sometimes, and sometimes you even kind of like start to speculate what a fourth dimension might look like or whatever. Like thinking, having to think spatially and systematically and all that, it trains you to think a certain way. It kind of trains your you really have to exercise your imagination even in some ways. And you have to you learn to kind of think very structured. You learn to think very quickly through solutions and whatnot. And as my pastor has said, even if you don't use calculus after you go through it, at the same time, you learn to kind of think on a calculus level. Okay. And so that's what um I see as something where if you don't actually learn to kind of think through these things on your own, then you miss that. And so again, some may think, well, you know, it's it's 2024, and maybe it doesn't really matter if you like really thoroughly learn how to think through all that stuff yourself. And I get what you're saying, but at the same time, there still is, and I think never will be, any anything as powerful cognitively, well, how I don't know how to phrase that, but as the human brain. I don't think there's anything that'll be as powerful as a human brain on this earth, and when it comes to thinking about things or whatever. Because, it's an old argument, but I mean it still stands. Think about it. It's human brains that created, you know, tech and AI and all this kind of stuff. So I don't think anything will come out of the brain that's going to be more powerful than the brain per se. It's just so many levels to it, but it actually is helpful to you in your life to learn to think on a calculus level. And I just think that's a really powerful way to think about it. Now, my overall synopsis on AI. Now, this is again, I'm trying to be more so objective. Well, let me tell you my subjective opinion. So, my subjective opinion, in other words, how I personally feel about AI is I feel like it can be useful for sure, but it makes me nervous. And again, maybe you can call me old school, but as one who, I've been done with school. So well before this came, all the AI stuff came out, I was done with all of my schooling and whatnot. So, I even when I was in school though, like with all the graphing calculator stuff, I was never one actually to put in all the equations and stuff like that, because I wanted to be able to like think through the stuff on my own and not necessarily, it's useful and maybe I kind of hurt myself in some ways, but I wanted to be able to kind of think through things on my own, remember things on my own. That's why a lot of times I don't even use like I've never used Grammarly. I've never used like a password uh auto enter tools and whatnot because I like to be able to kind of use my own brain to kind of think through those things. I see that stuff as valuable personally. So so I'm a little biased personally about AI because I feel that a lot of people are going to use it in a way or are using it in a way that's not helpful. That it's kind of causing them to like underutilize their their brains. Okay. But now my overall opinion about AI, and I'm trying to make this as objective as possible, is AI can be extremely useful, no doubt. But you still have to have a baseline of knowledge in order to be able to use it as effectively as possible. Period. No matter what your stance is, we know that AI is essentially inevitable. It's here. It's here. But for you to be able to actually use it in a way that'll be truly helpful, you have to have a baseline of knowledge. In other words, you can't just try to learn, you can't just get AI to kind of do everything for you. You know, whether it's for math, like what I'm talking about, or even stuff having to do with writing papers and whatnot, you have to have some level of knowledge about what you're doing, whether it means you have to have knowledge, of course, on how to use the tools, but then you also have to have knowledge about the subject material. Otherwise, you're going to get something out of AI, you're not really going to understand it, and at some point, it's going to show um, whenever time comes for you to produce. Okay, it's still valuable for us as humans to produce. Okay, and either way you see AI, you have to have a baseline of knowledge. Otherwise, you're going to use it and you're not even going to understand whatever it is you're getting out of it. I liken it to the use of supplements, you know, for the body. So if you've exercised or tried to reach different kind of goals, fitness wise, you may have used protein powder, you may have used other supplements, fish oil, or you know, joint collagen or creatine or anything like that. But the thing is, you can't just take a supplement or vitamins. You can't just take a supplement and think that that's somehow going to erase all kind of bad habits. And I used to kind of think, yeah, but you know, it'll probably gonna erase some. But no, you really can't. Like, if your diet is just trash, then it really doesn't matter what you do. Like, it's gonna be very hard for you to keep weight off if your diet is really, really bad, even if you exercise a lot. You know, and it's also gonna be very, very hard for you to avoid having health problems if your diet is bad, even if you take vitamins and fish oil and protein powder and all this kind of stuff. It just doesn't work. So AI is, to me, best described as a supplement that helps when you have a baseline of knowledge. Let me know what you think, though. I want to know what you think. Comment below, and don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank y'all for following. Thank y'all for watching. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you need math tutoring or you need SAT math help, look in the description to find out how you can sign up today. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you stay in touch with Math Swap Tutoring on YouTube. Have a good one.